Welcome to Just Conversations. You guys, I need an intro. I don't know what kind of intro I should have. I don't like a whole lot of stuff. I'm real basic. But I need an intro. Like, what kind of music do I need? Do I need like some soft, mellow jazz? Do I need something to pep you up because my voice drags you down? Tell me what you think. But anyway, today we're talking about lying. Just lying. Get your together. Lying. Like, why do we lie? How does it sneak into your life? What does it do to you? How does it affect your relationship? And I know some of you are thinking, well, Shay, I don't lie. You can ask my people. I'm brutally honest. I tell the truth. I'm sure there is a lie in some category that you have told in your lifetime. Maybe you don't do it regularly, and that's a beautiful thing. We all want to be you. But there is a lie. Some of us categorically have certain kinds of lies that we tell, right? There are a couple categories. Tell me whether or not you know. The first one is this one. Where are you? I'm at the light. I'm 5 minutes away. I'm right down the street, right? The longest block you've ever driven on in your life. The longest 5 minutes of your life, you show up 30 minutes later. And so those we call little white lies, right? What about the ones where you're telling the story to your person and you forget conveniently just certain parts of the story because you're with the type of person that's going to make it a big deal. The smallest thing, your person is going to make that a big deal. So you leave out the part of the story that's going to get you into trouble. We call those lies of omission, right? Or my favorite, like I tell y'all all the time, I have told y'all this a million times. Exaggerations. Really? That's my favorite though. I exaggerate numbers like nobody's business. Time, space, numbers. If I haven't done it 100 times, I haven't done it once. What about these? I didn't tell them because it was for their own good, or I was trying to protect them, or I didn't want to hurt them. Altruistic lies. I think those might be the hardest for me, but we'll talk about it. And then, last but not least, the ones you tell when you don't even realize that you're lying. You lie so often, or you tell this type of lie so often, you don't even realize that you're doing it. It's second nature to you. Pathological. Yeah. Now, researchers say that 60% of people on any given day, 60% of people tell at least one lie any given day. Now, that suggests to me that lying is relatively common in day-to-day life. Like we said, the severity and the frequency of that lie can vary. We hope that people are not going around telling severe lies, but the average person lies from 1 to 2 times a day. Now, that, of course, that number depends on personality type, social context, which type of lie you're telling, small lies versus significant lies, I'm sure. But 60% of people, guys, is that a number that surprises you? Is that a high number considering? Now, the University of Massachusetts found that 60% of people lied at least once during a 10-minute conversation. How many 10-minute conversations do you have in a day? And so imagine every time you have a 10-minute conversation that you or the person or the people that you're talking to, somebody in that group has told one lie. Right? Another study published in the Journal of Basic and Applied Social Psychology shows that people lied an average of 1.65 times per day. Most of the lies are being like social lies. Oh, I like your hair. Oh, I like your shoes. I like that watch. Nice watch. I feel like those are the lies you tell when you're in close quarters with somebody that you don't know. Now, it's not to say that you're not genuinely being honest about whatever the compliment is or whatever you've said to this person. But a lot of the times I find those kinds of comments or conversations come when you're standing next to a person that you don't know and it's awkward, like you guys are too close or the silence is deafening and you find something to say just to break the silence. Those are some of the lies that I feel like I hear often. Now, let me ask you guys if you knew this one. Did you know that children as young as 2 start lying? It's considered a developmental milestone. Imagine that. It's a developmental milestone for your brain and your body to realize that it's in cognitive dissonance with each other. So the adjustment that is made is you lie because you feel in your body that, uh-oh, there's trouble coming for something. I don't even know if the child remembers what he or she did. But what they know is what they feel in their body once the conversation happens. It's like, no, whatever I have done, I'm going to say the opposite. Did you do this? No. Did you eat that? No. I'm going to say the opposite. Right? And so that was mind blowing to me when I first learned that lying is considered a developmental milestone as early as 2. So the reason why I thought that that would be a fascinating fact is because we as parents, a lot of the times, feel as though there are certain things that we can't tell our children or certain things that we can't teach them because they're too young. And I'm saying that only as to say children as early as 2 start lying. They don't even recognize that it's a lie. Your brain is that advanced. So don't sleep on your children because they're tiny humans. The brain is more advanced than you know. All right? But suffice it to say, lying can be harmless, which is why I think so many people do it. And it certainly can be helpful, right? How many times have you lied to your person or to people that you have in your village or in your circle because one of them is difficult? Like they make you telling your truth an absolute crime. And it's like I want to be honest with you, but you make it a crime. Right? One of the reasons why we lie. I don't want to have to go back and forth with you. Not that I necessarily feel like I'm going to be in trouble, but I don't want to do this back and forth with you about this thing that's nothing. I don't want to do it. And it could absolutely be the fear of getting into trouble. Are we trying to impress somebody? It could be that too. We're trying to impress people that we don't know, that we don't like, that don't like us. And maybe it's a habit. Maybe you told this lie way back when. And you have to keep remembering it and keep telling it because your person is on to you and they know that it's a lie and they keep bringing it up trying to catch you. I don't know. I don't know why we lie. Why do we lie? Why do we lie? Of course, researchers say that it's subconscious and it's some kind of a response to a rooted past trauma or past fear. I'm sure that has something to do with it, right? But in your grown selves where nobody can whip you, so to speak, or give you a real consequence, like, why do we lie? Because it's helpful, right? Because it's helpful sometimes, right? Downright hurtful other times, but it's helpful sometimes. What are your favorite relationship lies? The lies that you tell to your person? Some of my favorite. Tell me. I'm not gonna get mad. Go on, tell me. I'm serious. I'm not gonna get mad. Tell me. I'm fine. Baby, we're good. We're fine. I don't care what other people think. All right. I didn't mean it like that. Those are some of my favorites. But This lying thing, as lighthearted as I want it to be, it absolutely holds some weight. Do you remember the first time that you were lied to? How old were you? And what was the lie about? Now, for me, it's always been difficult to find out what part of the lie was the worst part. Like, was it the lie itself? Was it the person who told the lie? Was it how I found out about the lie? Like, what part of the lie is the worst part? And then for me, when I find out, okay, which one it is, I think I have an issue when I find out something that's offended me in some way and I let you know about it because you were involved and you're dismissive about it, or you want to downplay it like it's not a big deal, or because you have known about it for quite some time and you've reconciled your feelings with it, you want me to just get over it. That type of a thing. I don't like that part either. When I do find out and I'm letting you know that I'm finding out for the first time, like I was today years old when I found this out, I need you, whomever you are, if you care about me at all, I need you to just create a space for me to have that moment. And you be as supportive or as quiet as you can absolutely be. Quiet might not be the thing, but if you're not going to make it better, don't make it worse. So you might want to just be quiet. But certainly don't tell me how I should feel about it. Tell me what I should think about it. Certainly don't do that. Don't do that. Because what you do at that point is you offend me in whatever way, whether you did this to me directly or whether you're telling me something that I didn't know from somebody else and you had nothing to do with it. You're just a messenger. Whatever it is, what you cannot do is tell the person who's been afflicted or offended how they should feel about it. Please, please, please avoid that space. Avoid that statement. Let this person sit in whatever this is for a minute. Now, of course, they can't stay there because, of course, I'm always going to tell you we have to reconcile that, forgive it, and move past it. I don't care what has happened. You have to reconcile it, forgive it, and move past it. That's the only way to stay healthy mentally, spiritually, emotionally. That's the only way. Physically, it's the only way. So it doesn't matter what it was or who did it. And for all of you and me be thinking of all the things it could be, I'm talking about all of the things. Talking about all the things. You have to be able to forgive that and let it go. You have to reconcile it first and heal yourself, yes. But you have to be able to forgive it and let it go. The holding on to it is in and of itself the unhealthy part. Right? You might think, well, the thing that happened to me is the unhealthy part. Yes, that also was unhealthy, but that has happened. We can't change that. Now, what's keeping it and making it fester and become toxic is the fact that you're holding it. So you certainly can't get healthy holding the toxicity. You cannot do that. So you have to heal yourself, forgive it, and let it go. That's the route to healthiness. That's the only way. It's like trying to get to God any other way but through Jesus. You can't do it. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you heard. I don't care how many books you have read. You have to be able to get the toxicity out of you, forgive it, and let it go. But back to this person who has said this thing. Does it make you question everything that they've ever said once you find out that if it's them that has lied to you, whomever it is, right? Do you start to look at that person differently? You question everything that they've ever said. And going forward, probably going to start questioning everything that they say. Do you ever grow to trust them again? This person? Or do you always look at them with a little side eye like, right? Like it's the hardest thing after you know that this person has lied to you, and it really doesn't matter what the lie was, because there's that part of you that feels like, dang, I thought that our relationship was strong enough, solid enough for you to be able to tell me at least this, right? Whatever the lie is when they tell it to you, and you're thinking, why did you have to lie about that? Like, that's the dumbest thing. Right? You didn't have to lie about that. That you really should have just told me that. You really should have. I don't know what you're thinking about, but you really should have just told me that. That's not anything to lie about. But then the next thought is, if you can lie to me about this, what in the world? I'm sleeping with the enemy. What is going on? Right? So lies do this kind of damage. Like it really messes with the foundation that you have with a person. And none of us want to be lied to, right? We all want to believe that honesty is the best policy. We all want to believe that. But truth be told, like we said just a moment ago, sometimes telling the truth to certain people is very, very difficult. And so you might as well lie to keep the peace. Because telling this person your truth, whatever that is, they're going to make it a bigger deal than it has to be. Or you have a person that is just so genuinely good. You have done something and you know if this person finds out, it is going to hurt them and you don't want to do that. So you keep it from them, which is not okay, but you do. My thing is, if you know that your person is this kind of good and you don't want to hurt them, then don't do the thing. Don't say the thing, don't do the thing, whatever it is. Think about your person. Think about this really good person that you have that you don't want to hurt. Think about them before you do the thing and let that be your deterrent. Lying is not how we lying is not how we fix it. Get yours together. That's not how we fix it. Just don't do the thing. Be grown enough, smart enough, have enough self-control, enough self-discipline not to do or say whatever the thing is so that you don't have to lie to your person, so that you don't have to hurt your person, because you know if they find out, and in your infinite wisdom you think that they won't, but so that they don't have to find out and you don't have to see the look on their face and you don't have to have the distance in your relationship that this lie is now going to create, because it is going to create some distance. Let me just tell you that. And so I'd love to say, well, if you can't talk to your person, if you can't tell them the truth, you don't have a healthy relationship on your hands. I'd love to tell you that, but that's not necessarily the case, right? There are some people, because of their upbringing, they are really particular, really keen on everything or nothing at all. That just is how they are. And this person is absolutely the best thing that's ever happened to you in your whole life. So what do you do with this person? Because if they find out that you've lied to them, they're absolutely going to peg you as a liar. So what do you do? And if you tell them the truth, y'all arguing about everything or going back and forth. Maybe not arguing, but you're going back and forth about nothing and everything at all. And you don't have the time or the energy. Like, I can't do this with you. But your person, it's every day for them. They don't mind it at all. So what do you do with that? Keep telling these lies. That's what you do. That's what you do. You keep telling these lies so that you don't have to fight with this person that you're trying to hold on to. Right? Now, I'm not telling you what to do here. This is an absolute tough one, because we know that God hates a lying tongue, right? We know that he hates it. And I'm always trying to tell you how to make things better. And if you can't make things better in and of yourself, you can go to God. Uh, and I'm not saying that you can't go to God about this one. I'm not saying that you can't. Um, I'm saying that it's difficult, like everything else that we're talking about, right? It's difficult. But what I will say, seriously, in all honesty and in seriousness, there's a freedom in being genuinely who you are, right? No filters, no pretenses, and being able to be in relationships with people who are willing to accept the real you and everything that comes with you. Like, the thing about my truth and your truth and his truth and her truth, whatever it is, you should be able to just say it. You should be able to just say it. And if you have a person that makes that difficult for you, I certainly can't tell you what to do with your person. I certainly cannot. But I can tell you, and depending on what the lie is and how often you're telling lies, right? You may have some things to work on. That's certainly an indication that you may have some work to do or a decision to make. Hopefully, these are little white lies that we're talking about, right? Or exaggerations. Hopefully, it's not the omissions, and it's not the altruistic ones, and it's certainly not the pathological ones. Hopefully, it's not those three, because that's a little bit deeper of a conversation that you have to have with yourself. But the freedom that you have when you can just be, and you can speak your mind freely, and you can speak your heart freely, that freedom, let me just tell you, if you don't have it, and if you never had it, that helps with why you lie, because you don't know what's on the other side of it, and you're not willing to risk it, right? You're not willing to risk it. But it's difficult to walk around and have to filter everything that you say. That much I do know. And let me also just throw this in parenthetically. It's more difficult to rebuild trust than it is to just have the courage to tell the truth in the first place. In my experience, and from what I have seen with people, that rebuilding trust takes quite some time, right? My guess and my vote, just tell the people what it is. And if it hurts them so much, whatever this truth is, if it hurts them so much that they leave you, then either you deserve it because you shouldn't have done whatever it was that you did, or they're making a big deal about something that they shouldn't, and you have to decide whether or not you want to continue to live with that. I'm going to say that, right? Because lying, like I said earlier, it puts some distance in between the two people, that whoever is involved. It puts some distance in that relationship. It absolutely eats away at that foundation that you guys have built. Because if you don't have trust, we have nothing. What are we doing? We have absolutely nothing. And you never really know the severity of the lie and how it affects the other person, right? Because typically it's not a conversation that you can really get deep into because it's something that has hurt the other person. So now the communication lines are a little fuzzy. You don't know when it's safe to talk. You don't know how deep you can go into the relationship to talk about it. So the communication is now going to be strained because one of you have been hurt. You have to take that into consideration. What you have effectively done is stolen this person's choice. You had all the knowledge and all the information, and you got to make your choice. But you've stolen mine. And then you want to tell me how to feel about it. It's not okay to take a person's choice. These people are grown people. You don't know how that person is going to feel. You don't know what they're going to think. You don't know what they're going to do. It's not your place, and it's selfish of you to do that. It's selfish of you to think for these people without talking to them. And it's selfish of you to take their choice away. So whatever you think that you're protecting me from, whatever you think that, oh, it's for my best interest that I don't know, is not your place to sit. It's not your place to sit. And so again, how you rectify this situation is not by lying. How you rectify the situation is by not doing the thing in the first place. Not doing or saying the thing in the first place. And if your brain is not smart enough to tell you what you should and should not be doing, if it's not smart enough or acute enough or keen enough to be aware to tell you what you should and should not be doing, it certainly should not be smart enough, keen enough, aware enough to tell you what you should not be telling me, what you should or should not be telling me. How do those two things go? How are you not aware enough to know that you should not have done this thing, or that you should have done this thing, but yet the awareness just slides out of the left ear and, oh, I didn't know. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't know what to tell you. Oh, all of a sudden you're not as smart as you were 10 minutes ago. You're not as smart as you were an hour ago. Clearly. You see what I'm saying? So the same brain that caused you to do or say the thing or not do or say the thing should be the same brain that tells you, you should tell me. Or don't do the thing so you don't have to tell me. Whichever combination is probably all confusing at this point. But lying is not the answer. That's not how we fix what you've done to me. How we fix what you've done to me is by not doing what you're about to do. That's how we fix it. Loving me enough to not do whatever it is that you have an opportunity to not do, because you always have an opportunity to not do it. There's nothing that just happens. You always have an opportunity to not do it when it comes to matters of the heart. Let me say that, because there is a such thing as accidents, right? But when it comes to matters of the heart, there's nothing that really just happens. Nothing. So you always have an opportunity to think and make a different choice. But in your selfishness, you decided what you were going to do that made you feel better about you, and indirectly made you feel better about you in reference to me. And that may be fine for you. Clearly it is. But it's not fine for me. I don't want you to make my choice for me. If it's a possibility that it's going to hurt me, if it's a possibility that it's going to have any negative effect on me, I need you to tell me, or I need you to not do the thing that's going to adversely affect me. Like that's simple math to me. That's 1 + 1 makes 2. But that's difficult to do when you're already in a complex situation. And that's the problem with complex situations. Situationships, all of the things, those things are complex in nature. And so 1 + 1 never equals 2 when you're in a complex situation. So all of the excuses that you sit in there you may have, and all of you that may be talking back to the radio saying, well, Shay, you don't know this and you don't know that. Granted, I don't know all the details. I don't need to know. What I'm telling you is, in simple math, when things are going as they should, 1 + 1 equals 2 all the time. It's a principle. When things are complicated, math ain't simple, and math don't math when it ain't simple. So 1 + 1 equals 6.75 because this situation is now complicated. Well, don't make me the victim. I'm the innocent here. Go get your together. Uncomplicate it or cut me loose. Don't bring me into the complication. But again, selfishness. Right? This hurt that we're talking about has some measure of selfishness on the part of some person and selflessness on the part of another. Too much of it, right? Because the balance of it is fine. We all have a little selfishness, and we all should have a little unselfishness. The balance of those two are perfectly fine. But you having too much selfishness or too much selflessness creates these spaces for stuff like this to happen. And people get their feelings really, really hurt. Unfortunately. And it's not okay, right? But unbeknownst to you, lying doesn't just hurt other people, it also hurts you. Your brain lights up like a Christmas tree when you lie. And over time, you lying desensitizes your brain to you feeling guilty, which is what's supposed to happen because you're not supposed to be lying. That's why your body feels it. Going back to the 2-year-old that we talked about at the top of the show. That little person does not know that he or she is lying, but they feel in their body that in between this conversation that they're having with this older person and something that they've done, whether they remember it or not, they feel that that's not a good thing. And so they say whatever they need to say so that whatever they think is going to happen doesn't happen. But your body feels lying. That's why lie detectors work, right? Lying increases your stress hormone. Hello, cortisol spike. We talked about that a couple of episodes ago. And when your cortisol, when your stress hormones are released and your cortisol spikes, your amygdala starts to do what it does. And we know that the amygdala doesn't have a brain. All it does is feel. And it's very selfish. So yes, you do what it is that you feel like you want to do. Not necessarily the smartest thing to do. And you may feel like that's a good intention, but it's a bad decision. Most of the time, it's a bad decision. A better decision is, again, don't do the thing. Don't say the thing. Don't have the complex situation. Uncomplicate it. Whether that takes you to have some honor, whether that takes you to have some integrity, some accountability, some responsibility, whatever it is, it requires you to step up and do and be something that you're clearly not at the moment. And because you're clearly not the thing, that opens the door for this thing to hurt me. That's what the problem is. That you don't love me enough to protect me in the way that you should protect me. You want to protect me in the way that you want to protect me. And I'm supposed to just deal with that because you love me enough and you did this. Yes, you love me and you did this, but you shouldn't have done that. You should not have done the other thing. And we wouldn't be having this conversation. But the selfishness in you won't allow you to love me that way. Oh. And so I now have a decision to make. But what about all the sacrifices that I've made for you? What about the visions in the future that I had for us? Like, you taint all of that. But again, I chose you. So this is not all on the liar because I chose you, right? You've shown me some signs of lying before. How many you've shown me? Horse of a different color. What you've lied about? Horse of a different color. But you've shown me some signs of lying before. And I've let it go. I've forgiven it. We've worked it out. We moved around it, whatever we've done, because we're still together. But what it teaches your person, when you allow and you accept the lies, it teaches your person that lying is okay to do with you. That's what you teach them. And so these lies are slippery slopes, even the white ones. They're slippery slopes because people don't remember all of the good things that you do to them, all of the good things that you do for them. They don't remember all of them. But they don't tend to forget not one of the bad things. They may be better at not mentioning it, but they don't tend to forget those things. You know the saying, people don't care what you've said to them or how you've talked to them. They remember how you made them feel. How does it go? Y'all remember it. And I can't think about it right now, but you know what I'm talking about. You never forget how people make you feel, especially when it's negative. You don't forget that. And so this is that. You have your person, whomever they may be. This could be a romantic relationship. It can be a family relationship, friend, whomever. You have your person and you love them. But once this person has betrayed you with a lie, your relationship is different. It just is. Because either the lie was too small for the person to want to lie about and you look at them differently, or it was one of these big ones and you can't even believe that they did what they did. So yes, you absolutely understand that they had to lie to you, but why would you do this thing in the first place if you love me the way that you say? So you have to sit with that and say, okay, well, did I cause this? Had this person been talking to me before about this? Have we had any conversation about it? And was I receptive to the conversations? Did I make any adjustment when I found out? And if that answer is yes, if you've done all that you can do with the information that you got from this person who has now lied to you, if you've done all that you can do and they still felt the need to lie, you have a decision to make. I'm going to just tell you. Because now you've created a pattern with your person. So you have a decision to make. And if you decide to stay, you can't in good consciousness want to continue to be upset with them when you find out that they lie. Because you have enough evidence to know that they are liars. To you at least, anyway, for some reason. Now, if they're liars in general, that's a thing. But if they just lie to you, you have to find out what that is. So you'll have to take the sting out of your hurt for just a moment so that you two can have an honest conversation and find out why this person continues to lie to you. What is it that you are or are not doing? If it's you, it may not be you. It may absolutely be this person, but you need to find out what that is. And if you're going to continue the rest of your life this way with this person, because I'm telling you the power of a lie, that distance that it creates, y'all are on a different trajectory anyway, if you don't figure out what it is. And then at that point, it's only a matter of time before your relationship ends or somebody steps out or somebody finds somebody else, whether it be physically or emotionally. The checkout is coming because we're too hurt, or one of us is too hurt to have a real conversation and get to the root of what this lying is about. I'm never going to tell you to just forgive it and move on. No, we have some heavy, heavy introspection to do into what happened, why it happened, how it happened. Because your job as the hurt person, the person that has been lied to, your job is to figure out what part in that you played so that we can put something in place to nip that in the bud. We're not about to keep doing this. We're not about to keep doing this. So there's some work to be done on your part as the person who was lied to. Well, Shay, why you always got me working? Because you're the only person we can do anything about. If you're the person that's listening, then I'm talking to you. I can't fix your person, and neither can you. Your person has to want to love you enough. Your person has to love you enough to want to change themselves to be better for you. Not just you themselves also, but they have to want that. You can't force it on them. You can't fight them for it. You can't badger them about it. But in that, it takes two people. Everything that happens in your relationship has happened between two people. You have to do an analysis and find out what part in that you had, no matter how big, no matter how small. And so that's what the homework is about. For you to do your own deep dives into your part in this. Not talking to you about your person. There's no sense in that. This work is always going to be self-work, because the measure of your relationship, the measure of the greatness of your relationship has everything to do with how great you are. Everything to do. And so just because you're not going out and lying to your person, just because you're not going out and cheating on your person, it doesn't mean that you don't have some character things that you need to work on. Please don't let that creep into your brain. Today, we're talking about lying, and we made some jokes because we all have told one of these types of lies. But this lying thing, no matter how big, no matter how small, the small ones open the door to the big ones. But like I said, it also creates a pattern or the habit that this is okay. And just because it's okay to you does not mean that it's okay to your person. Either way. So we have some things to do. We have to make sure that we put ourselves in a position to really, really, really decrease our part in this thing. Which brings us to the second step in our transformation from hurt to health, right? The first step we know was awareness. The second step is acknowledgement. We have to find out what's really going on in this situation. We have to have that conversation and be really honest about it without denial, without minimizing it. You have to really be able to clearly define what is happening. That's the only way that you can do anything about it. You cannot fight what you cannot see. Do some reflection on how this issue is affecting you and all the people that's involved. And that's the issue with responsibility. We don't take enough inventory into what has happened and the weight of what has happened, how it affects me and how it affects everybody else that's involved. And so you get a lack of accountability and a lack of responsibility, or you have taken that inventory and it's too much for you. So you run from the accountability and you run from the responsibility. But you have to be able, in any situation that you're involved in, you have played a part, again, no matter how big or small, and you have to find out what your part was without blaming the other people, even if it is mostly their fault, even if it is all their fault. You had some part in it. Something you said, did, something you didn't say, didn't do. Maybe you were an innocent bystander. I don't know. But if you've been hurt by the situation, you weren't an innocent bystander. More than likely, this thing didn't start, whatever this is, this didn't happen today. This didn't start today. You just found out about it today. But you have to be able, if you want to fix this, if you want to minimize it going forward, because we can't stop anybody from lying to us and we can't stop anybody from cheating on us, right? But the prevention is, this is how we protect our heart to as much of a degree as possible. We find out what our part in the situation was. If you're a person that you've been lied to by several people, if you're a person that you've been hurt by several people, there's a pattern. That pattern has something to do with you. You have to figure out what it is. And once you figure it out, then you have to be willing to change it. You have to be willing to change it. That's how we move through this transition. That's how we go from step 1 to step 7. You have to be willing to change what you find out. The questions in the homework, if you download the homework, the questions in the homework are going to help clear the path, are going to help clarify a path for where we are, how we got here, and where we're trying to get to. So I need you to download that homework, right? For this in particular, if you are the person that is lying, we need some character building skills. We need to work on honesty. We need to work on accountability. We need to work on integrity, right? The integrity part is integral because that's the part where all of this starts. When you're by yourself and nobody's watching, you can't be trusted. You need a supervisor, right? You are supposed to be able to self-govern you. Self-govern. You're supposed to be able to do that. Self-govern, and you self-govern by having self-control. But you're undisciplined. And because you're undisciplined and your amygdala is unchecked, you operate in your feelings. You do what you feel like you want to do. For all the reasons, whether you have justification or not, you do what you feel like you want to do. And so the only thing that fixes a lying tongue is to find out what the root of the lie is. Practice some things. Start making some better choices. Because if you start making better choices for you on the front end, I don't have to worry about being hurt on the back end because you have some standards, some boundaries, some expectations about yourself. You have some integrity, some accountability, some responsibility about yourself, and you tend to be honest. And so a lie has to go through all of that to be able to violate the trust that you and I have in order to hurt me. But the more of that that's built, the harder it is to penetrate. And so the wall of honesty that you have has holes in it. So we have to build your walls up, your walls of integrity, your walls of dignity. We have to build your walls. They're loose. And because your walls are loose, I don't have any protection either as the person who's standing in the gap, holding it down for you. So again, like we said, forgiveness is not for all the other, well, forgiveness is not for you if you won't take that. But you getting this thing, this toxicity out of you to help protect the people, the relationships that you love and the people that love you so that they're not hit with the crossfires of this vengeance and fury that you're carrying around. We forgive for that reason, right? Well, you building up this wall of integrity and accountability and responsibility does the same thing. It protects the people who are waiting in the gap to hold you down when stuff goes left. It's the wall. It protects you and us. But if you don't have it, if your lines and your boundaries and your expectations are low or loose, we're all in danger still. Because you haven't put the proper protections in place for us to be able to be back here chilling. So you know what that means? You know what that causes? When you don't build a solid enough foundation or a high enough or a firm enough wall for us to feel secure, now I have to be on guard. Now I have to be on guard. And you don't get to dictate who I'm on guard with because I don't feel safe. I don't feel protected. You don't got me. You don't got us. So now you get all of these extra conversations at the house. I have to check and be on you about every little thing. So no, you can't tell me your truth because your truth has holes in it. I always have to end up cleaning up your mess. I always end up catching you in a lie because you can't be honest with me. So no, I can't just sit and chill. I can't just be cool because I'm not safe here. There's no security for me. And of course, I'm going to tell you why you're still there. You should leave if you know that. But that's not what we're talking about. Okay. To the person that's lying, you have to get your skills up. You have to get your wall built. If you have somebody that you know, that you love, that you trust, that you want to protect, you have to build a wall of that protection. If you are the person who is waiting in the gap for your lying person to get their ish together, never mind. We're gonna keep it moving. That's about to be a whole nother podcast. Anyway, you have to have a principle, right? If you're the lying person and you need to change some things, we have the prevention. We need you to acknowledge this thing, both of you, the person that has been lied to and the person that's doing the lying. We need to acknowledge this behavior and we need to dig down deep to find out what it is. There's some character building skills that both of you need because one of you is more than likely too selfish and the other of you is more than likely too selfless. So we have some building to do. Both of those things need to be strengthened. Neither of them are okay, right? And of course, we need a principle because God hates a lying tongue. Hates it. Proverbs 12:22. He hates a lying tongue. So we have to figure out what we're going to do about this lying thing. As helpful as it can be sometimes, it does open the door. It is the gateway to these bigger lies that cause more damage than you even realize. And that's not what we want, right? So I want us to do a challenge for the week. If you would, if you're so inclined, One of these areas of lying, you do. I don't know the frequency of it, but one of these areas belong to you. We'll go over them again. Are you a white lies person? Are you a lies of omission person? Are you an altruistic lies person? Are you an exaggeration lies person? Are you a pathological lying person? One of those belong to you. What I want you to do this week, identify which area is yours. And let's commit to not doing the thing that will cause you to have to tell the lie. Can we do that? 7 days. 7 days. Honesty is a habit. Like anything else, it's a habit. And it starts small and it'll grow into something transformative if you let it. Now, for my people that feel like they're brutally honest, I don't believe that you have to be brutal to be honest. The truth does what it does. It does one of two things. It makes you bitter or it makes you better. It doesn't need you to be brutal. Just tell the truth. That's all. I don't care for that whole brutally honest thing, because why do you want to be brutal with me? Just tell the truth. Right? So I'm going to tell you, if that's difficult, if you feel like that's going to be difficult for you to do, or Shay, I don't know. Maybe you done told way too many lies. I don't know. Maybe you done dug yourself a whole little lying ditch. I don't know. If it's difficult for you to do on your own, I know a man who can help you if you ask him, right? This might not be love and lost street for you, this lying thing. This lying thing for you might be mad injustice street. Well, you're still in luck. That's at the intersection of love and lost street. Gotta meet you there too. Right? Like I tell you, it's not a road that you can be on. It's not a pit that's deep enough. It's not a cave that's dark enough that you can go into that this man won't come get you from. I promise you, if you sincerely call him, he will come and get you from wherever you are. And so, if you really want to change this lying thing, because it has become a problem in your relationships, no matter which kind they are, or if it's on its way to becoming a problem and you need some help because you can't do it on your own, I know a man, right? Now, for those of you who don't have a relationship with God, now those of you who do have a relationship with God, you already know. And what you need to do is pray and ask God to help you with it, help you with this thing. Now, of course, in the homework, there's several scriptures that you could use. Pick one that resonates with you. Read it every day, right? That's going to help to build your spiritual strength, which you also need. That's like the cement for the bricks that is part of this wall that you need to build, right? Okay, anyway. But for those of you who don't have a relationship with God that way, download a Bible, find a version that you like. I recommend the New Living Translation, the NLT. Read the principles and the chapter that the principles are in. Get to know God for yourself. I suggest you read the Gospels first: Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Learn about Jesus. He is the only way that you can get to God. Okay? And then if you decide that you want to learn about God, read the Old Testament, Genesis to Joshua. And then if you decide that you like to build your own relationship with God, there's a link in the description, the same place that you got the homework from, called the Roman Road. Teaches you the step-by-step scripture-based process for how to become a Christian, just in case you're interested. All right? All right, y'all. Was that fun? It was a little fun. It went a little left, but it was all right. I enjoyed it. Stop by next week for step 3. on your journey from hurt to health. I love you. God loves you. There's nothing you can do about it. This journey is yours to create, guys. Make it what you want it to be. Remember, if you can change your perspective, you can change your whole life. Until next time.